Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the after party. Did you bring some snacks and treats?
Yes, it did.
I hope you got me something to eat.
Maybe.
Welcome to the after party. Coming to the after party.
Right now.
I've been waiting here all day to act like a fool this way. Welcome to the after party. Join us in the after party.
Right now.
Oh, chocolate and dabbing, maybe some microphone dabbing at the after party.
With DJ Eric Pate.
You are currently nut checking. Okay, well, there we go.
Have we not established the importance of a nut check?
It's very important. You should always be aware of the nuts. They need to be checked.
Well, not just the nuts, but a nut check. Think ahead, Eric. Think ahead.
If you guys don't know about that, you missed last week's episode. Sorry, inside joke. So we got South Texas Shark in the house. Good to see you. I hope everybody's. I hope the chat works today. We'll see. It seems like it's running fine now, but it took like 5 minutes for it to go out last week. Thank you for that, StreamYard. It was really annoying. So yeah, the song is back. People rejected all the remixes, so I said, you know what? Since they don't want the thug rap version that Paigey proposed, so
who would not want the thug rap version?
I don't know. Basically, not me. Oh, is this the design? That's going to be the t-shirt design for Nut Check.
Would people buy a mug / t-shirt / tote bag that has Nut Check?
Probably not. Unless it has the after party logo on it somewhere, I guess. Nut Check. Give me a break. Hey, what's up, Lane Pennington? Hey, Defunct, how are you doing? Robert Blake in the house. Good to see you. It's like Darren says no, but Maya says yes. So
the irony.
Yeah. All right. So this week has been a rough week. I was talking with Paigey last night, I think is when we were talking about it. About how like news has not been good lately. It's been a lot of really unfortunate stories, I guess, in terms of like news.
Yeah.
Is that what you would say? Would you agree with that? There's just not a lot with the strike going on. Everything feels very like negative.
What do you mean? Unfortunate is in not interesting, or unfortunate is in like it's just negative?
It's just like doesn't feel good. Like there's no feel good news. We're not getting like great stories and stuff like that. We do have one today. We're going to talk about Blue Beetle. So, well, like there's nothing to announce. You know what I mean? Like everything is all like basically clickbait.
Well, weren't you going to react to the new Kevin Spacey trailer? Wasn't that your new thing?
No, I don't think we were, because that trailer would probably be spicy, maybe edgy. I don't know.
Spicy, interesting.
Yeah,
I just wish that would have been flagged, but
no. No, but I mean, like this week, people assume that you know, that we like talking about negative stuff. That's not really true. There's just not really a lot.
Well, I don't know who the hell would assume that was me. I think that's just you.
No, it's definitely you.
It's just me.
I have seen comments that are like all Paigey does is like talk negatively. I mean, I've seen the comments.
If it was talk shit, then they might be right. But if it's in regards to talking negatively, that is definitely not the case.
They said all you do is clickbait Snyderverse stuff. So I mean, that's
to be fair. Yeah. Caught red-handed. My bad.
Sabras here with the $2 super chat says, will Grant Gustin play Jimmy Olsen in the DCU? That's because of the rumor, or I guess it is a rumor, but James Gunn is following Grant Gustin now and said that he liked him as an actor, I guess. I think that was the comment that was made. I would be very shocked if we see Grant Gustin play anything in the DCU. Not because I wouldn't want to see it, but I just...
What was your reaction? Do you think we could see Hartley Sawyer, though? Do you think there's a...
Yeah. There's definitely a role for Hartley Sawyer's. He's playing the guy in the unemployment line. That's what he's doing. Whatever shot it is with like an
mysterious guy with beard #1.
People are saying Plastic Man. I'm like, so you really want him to come back and play just another version of a similar character? I mean, is that a common thing? Do people typically, have you found that people, when they do like a fan casting, it's really just like, oh, this person looks like that character, so
well, I don't mind that angle, but if that's your only factor or trait, then it's a bit of an L. I don't like fan casting for the most part, unless it's like a 100%, and you get like maybe like 1 in 100. That's a 100%.
Has there ever been a person that wasn't fan cast or you thought was going to be absolute ass, and then they play the role and you're like, oh, they were really good? Has that ever happened before for you? Because I'll be honest, I remember back when Batman '89 was coming out, people didn't think Michael Keaton was going to be a good Batman.
Well, I think I might have still been an egg, so I can't comment on that. Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is there probably a casting? It would have been from like a movie, maybe. I don't know if it's ever been from a TV show. Because I think most of the time with a TV show, when it's like a main character anyway, they usually cast it correctly anyway.
I can think of a recent one that people were kind of poo-pooing on. I was kind of poo-pooing on it, and it ended up being good.
Why'd you say, when you said poo-poo, why'd you go turn into like a poo-poo?
Poo. John Cryer as Lex Luthor. I was very much like, that's not going to work, and then he ended up like doing really, really well. And
I was like, maybe like down the middle. I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah. But I didn't necessarily dislike it or anything like that. But I necessarily didn't.
Anthony says Zachary Levi as Shazam. Did people not think he was going to do good as Shazam? I didn't really see a lot of that.
I thought everyone was like, that was a good casting. Like when it got announced.
Robert Pattinson as Batman. Yeah, I do remember that one. I do remember that.
I can't remember what my opinions are with the Robert Pattinson Batman. I think maybe there's usually none that I'm like. Usually it's when I watch the movie. I don't know if I really ever make my mind up to. Actually, the only one I made my mind up early with that I can think of is a movie that's not even out yet, and that's Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. I think that sucks ass, that casting. Like,
so you don't have any hope for that. You're like, fuck the world. That's not going to be.
He doesn't fit the character at all. That's the issue.
Right.
So when I'm going off that, well, don't say okay. Don't just sit there and go, well, okay.
I'm going to let you hold the L. Like if he ends up being good, I'm going to let you hold the L. I'm not going to co-sign on that yet because I don't know. I'm not going to.
Well, where do you slightly lie?
So I like him as an actor. I've liked him in.
I like him as an actor as well. I like him as an actor as well. But I think
I feel like you hate. I'm getting the vibe that you hate him and you want him to be unemployed.
Why do you go from 0 to 100 in like every possible instance?
Look, I don't think he fits Guy Gardner either, but he could. But we could be looking at a situation where they're not trying to copy the comic book version. They could be doing something completely different. And in that argument, why not make him a different character altogether? You know what I mean? Why name him Guy Gardner if you're just gonna make him different? So I don't know. He's definitely gonna have the haircut. They're gonna give him the haircut. So get ready for the bowl
which cut. Is weird because he hasn't had the bowl cut for a while.
Right. Wait, you don't think they're gonna do it? Do you think they're gonna?
They'll do the bowl cut, but it's not like God. That's like. It's not like it's a. I don't know. Is it like a? I was gonna say, does someone have like a mohawk or something like that? Like that's sort of like.
I do remember the discourse about Chris Evans going from Human Torch to Captain America, and he ended up being like one of the best characters in the MCU. Honestly,
isn't that one of your favorite movies? Fantastic Four 2.
In reality, I do like that movie, but not because I think it's a great movie. No. I mean, I like Silver Surfer. I hated Galactus. I think Galactus being a giant cloud of space doo-doo probably wasn't good. But
originally that movie, like apparently Lawrence Fishburne was meant to voice Galactus, not Silver Surfer.
Really? I didn't hear.
And Silver Surfer was just meant to be voiced by Doug Jones, who played him physically. Like even in the trailers, in the early trailers, they used Doug Jones' voice instead of Lawrence.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to go back and watch now. But I will say, Silver Surfer was done really well in that movie. Like I feel like he was at the power.
Those visual effects now look like a movie that would come out now.
Yeah, they were really well done. Like the reflection on Silver Surfer and everything. Yeah, I thought it was really good. But it wasn't a good movie. Like I don't think the movie itself was good. But yeah. Oh my goodness.
Is that Low Rider? Is that? What?
They have added member chats to the super chat section
okay.
on StreamYard. I can bring up member chat comments.
I thought you'd like soiled yourself or
This
something.
this is like Christmas for me or my birthday because I've been asking for this for months now.
God,
do you understand, Paigey, how important this is?
Not
This
really.
is
It
really
sounds like
important.
an absolutely horrible Christmas.
No, this is a good one. This is a good one. We have some.
Actually, can I give you my fun fact? Or my weird
what is
story?
What is your? Okay, wait, hold on. Yes, you can do your story.
Can you? Okay, so
it better not suck.
No, so not yesterday, the day before, and I don't know if anyone's ever had this situation play out before, and it's not necessarily like, okay, so here's a situation. I was in my place, and I knew I had to leave in about half an hour, so I'm like, whatever, and I didn't want to turn on TV or something, so I'm playing music and some songs and stuff like that. But there's a song that didn't play that I wanted to play. I just didn't get around to it. So I was singing in my head was "Modern Love" by David Bowie. So I was just singing in my head, and I was like, whatever how the song goes. And it was in my head, and I was thinking about it. And get in the car about half an hour later, and the song is playing.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever happened to you where you've just been like this song stuck in your head, and then it's like you wanted to listen to it, but you didn't get around to doing it, and then it's like I'm playing on the radio?
No, not.
I felt like I was being watched.
Really?
In a bad way. Like I felt like.
Now, I have had something where I've mentioned it while we're watching TV, and then I'll open my phone up and it'll be advertising to me on my phone. I've had that happen.
So you're thinking of like toilet paper or something, and then there's toilet paper.
Yeah, actually, I don't even know where my phone is. I would show it to you. But yes, I would think about something like that, and then you open your phone up and it's being advertised to you. I've never had that happen, but I have had songs about things that I'm watching show up. Like if I'm watching a movie about some. No, not Snowtown.
Body in a barrel, yeah.
When I'm watching a movie, like for example, like the Barbie movie, right? And Push comes on, and then like the very next day I'll hear it Push.
But I think that's that song, because that happened to me. That like 2 days after or a day after I watched Barbie, I turned it on. That was playing on the radio. I'm like, I haven't heard this on the radio for like ages, and all of a sudden the day after I see Barbie with that song's in it, it's all of a sudden on the
question
radio.
is it a good song though? Was it a good song? Did you like that song or no?
I love Matchbox 20. I love Rob Thomas. I think he's an underrated artist.
Do you like Nickelback?
I don't mind Nickelback.
Hold on. Would you go to a Nickelback concert? That's the question. Would you go see?
If I got given tickets to a Nickelback concert,
yeah, you were given the tickets to go. You would go.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't pay.
Would you? I'm going photograph. Look at this photograph. Would you like?
Every time I do, it makes me laugh, Eric. I'm going to Foo Fighters at the end of this year.
Oh, really?
They're coming to Australia.
Matchbox 20 is good.
Matchbox 20 is good.
Robert Blake says I like 3 of their songs. Okay.
Do you have a favorite Matchbox 20 song, Eric?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't mind any of them, honestly. What was that song that the lead singer did with Santana?
Smooth.
That's a good song. I like that.
That's a good song. That's what I was gonna say. If it's one like
that was like 2000, right? Wasn't that around 99?
Yeah, early. It wasn't late 90s. I think it was early 2000s.
Yeah. Lance says, Paigey, you sound amazing. Can I hire you for a gig with my band?
It's about. So you know how you don't want to oversaturate the market with brilliance? That's why I contain myself. I knew if I came on, it'd be like Taylor Swift too, and
So Stagivore here with the 499 super chat says, would you want to see a version of Black Lightning in the DCU? I wouldn't mind any DC character in the DCU, to be honest. There's some that I think we've seen a lot of that I'd like to see less of, but like, you know, if a character from the Arrowverse because that's the first ever live action version of Black Lightning, so I wouldn't mind seeing another one. But we've been oversaturated with a lot of characters, so I wouldn't absolutely mind that. What about you? Would you go out and see a Black Lightning? Well, let me ask you this: Black Lightning solo movie or like in a team up movie? with other characters. I think a team up movie with other characters would be.
I wouldn't mind seeing him team up first, maybe in like an Outsiders thing or whatever it is, or I don't know, whatever it might be, and then potentially get his own solo thing.
Yeah. Ooh, Steven looked like he was getting punished. This is Jordan Arnis, who's a member for 35 months. Thank you so much, Jordan. Steven looked like he was getting punished. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I can't wait to hear Pagey's hot take because I'm pretty sure that he's going to have some spicy.
Do you mean
so
non-chronically online take? Yeah.
Maybe. Snyderverse take, maybe?
Get off your fucking phone and breathe in oxygen. Most people.
All right. Here we go. Oh, why are we down at the bottom? No, I don't want that. That's not.
That looks weird.
Yeah, that looks really weird. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about this. Is all going to be strike stuff, so we're going to kind of breeze through it because there's just so much to talk about. So here we go. Arrow Stars writers reunite on picket line, sans Stephen Amell. So this is interesting. We're not going to read the article. We do have a couple pictures to look at, but I will tell you that a lot of the people involved with Arrow were in Burbank. I mean, we had like Katie Cassidy. Who else was there? Willa Holland. Who else was there, Paige? Mark Guggenheim, Beth Schwartz.
It's pretty much like most of like Colton Haynes wasn't there, David Ramsey wasn't there.
Yeah.
Here
it goes. Katrina Law, Brandon Routh, Katie Lotz, Juliana Harkavy, Wendy Miracle was there. Caroline Dries was there.
Wendy Miracle. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a name I haven't known in a while.
But they had all these pictures and they looked like they were out there really supporting. It was actually good to see all of them back again, even though it's a bad situation. You know, you always wonder like what they're doing, where they're at. So I thought that was really good. But there was drama because Stephen Amell also, I'm not going to say this, Mark Guggenheim's there. Oh, shares his thoughts on Stephen Amell's comments about the strike. We might have to listen to that in a second. We'll do that after this. I'm going to get our thoughts on this first. So Stephen Amell did go out and strike on Friday. We talked about this last week, whether or not he would actually show up. He did. I suspected he would show up to do it. I kind of figured after what happened with all the drama that he would be there, but he was in New York and by himself pretty much. I don't think you said that looked like Natalie Abrams next to him.
It looks like Natalie Abrams on his left. That at least to me it did. But
so for me, regardless of where he is picketing, because I know that was drama about whether or not he was in California, New York. You said that he was there because he was seeing a show, right? Wasn't he there?
It was on social media. He was there to watch Colin Donnell, who played Tommy Merlin,
right?
Watch his Broadway show.
Yeah.
I saw people going on these like weird theory tangent things. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. And also to me, this is the weird thing. It was like, who cares where he is?
Well, I will say for me, the problem is that it's like I don't know what word I'm looking for here. It was like a series of unfortunate circumstances for them because the Arrow cast decided to do their thing in Burbank because that's where most of them live at, right? So they're like, we're just going to do it
around that area.
And then I want to say this. I think the union told him he had to do this.
I think he was going. I think if he was in LA, he probably would have gone to that reunion thing, but he was obviously had the plans in New York. So it's like, well, he could either like just gone to another day in LA or whatever it is.
So you don't think that he was pressured by his public relations people?
Oh no, I think he would have been. I think he would have been suggested like you should go, but I don't know if like it was specific like you had to do it on New York City or whatever it is. Like I think it was just like that was the day that it was the thing that was happening in LA or in Burbank. So do it here. Now I don't know like the specifics around like, you know, who else was there or whatever it is and everything like that.
Well, I think in New York he was the only Arrow cast member that was there striking in New York. But everyone else was in Burbank.
I mean, the only other Arrowverse
would have been Colin, but who was working
Colin,
there, right?
but he was doing Broadway, so he's not going to spend his day out there. Unless he had a day off, but obviously he didn't. But yeah, the only other Arrowverse people like that could potentially be in New York doing it would be like Tom Cavanaugh or Jesse L. Martin because that's where they live.
Yeah. Robert here says it shows his lack of conviction behind his words and actions. In my opinion, he should have watched the show a day or later, pick it with his team crew. For me, it cements it as. See, that's what I mean. Like a lot of people, and I'm not trying to like pretty much put you in with that group, Robert, because you got your own opinion. But I've seen a lot of people online that have said that they feel like he did this the same day because he knew that if he didn't, he would get called out for that. So it was almost a scenario where no matter what he did, people were going to say something about it.
He was in a lose-lose situation in regards to like people on social media.
Could you imagine if he didn't actually pick it on Friday? Could you imagine if that would have happened?
Oh, it would have been World War III.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been the FOMO people going, "Oh, why are you out there?"
But I will say, to me, this picture, the expression on his face, I know he's just standing there and maybe it wasn't intentional, but he looks like the most miserable person right now. Like he does not want to be standing out here doing this after he said what he said. This is why I think he felt compelled to do it, because I don't think he would have done it just because. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know if he would have done it in New York that specific day. I think there would have been a time in the near future where he would have done in LA, but I don't know if he would have wanted to specifically do it on that day in New York. But I think because the Arrow reunion was happening, it's like, well, God, it would look bad if I don't do anything on this specific day. So if the Arrow reunion wasn't happening, I would expect in a handful of weeks when things cool down, at least in regards to like people that aren't even involved, that he would have gone and done something in, whether it was specifically in the streets of LA or up in Burbank or whatever it is outside Warner Brothers.
We have a couple comments here. This one's from Cody.
And also, it's very important to remember when he was saying stuff, he's not necessarily against the picketing. Like, it's like, oh, I can't picket. It's like this thing I can't do.
He doesn't think the strike itself.
It's the shutting down of productions and stopping people from working. That's what he was sort of commenting on.
Yeah. Cody here says, I think it's because him and Kirk Acevedo would fight. Do you think that's true? I don't think.
To be honest, if Stephen Amell and Kirk Acevedo showed up to the reunion, they'd go, Kirk, fuck off. They would say, go away. You want one season, go away. So honestly,
you know what though? Honestly, this would have made for a big moment because the two of them played enemies on the show.
Well, I think it wouldn't have helped. Like, the thing is, Matt Letcher put like a pretty reasonable response online.
Yes.
While Kirk Acevedo said, like,
Matt Lesher was basically saying, well, what would you do in place of striking? Basically, like, what would be your negotiation?
Yeah, he was like, okay, well, like, there's your comments. Okay, so what's your solution? Right. It's like you saying, oh, world hunger sucks, and it's like, okay, well, Eric, what's the solution? Like, give me like quickly solution. There is a solution, by the way, but I'd love to hear what Eric says. But Kirk Acevedo's was like, what was it? Fuck this dude. That's what he
and middle fingers to the sky. Yeah, pretty much. He was giving him middle finger up.
So I don't think that would have been a amicable meeting. I don't know if that would have been very nice.
So I want to drop this down because I actually want to hear. I haven't heard that video from Mark Guggenheim where he talks about.
I listened to it, but it was on my phone, so like I got like half the audio.
This is going to be like a reaction to that. Here we go. Let's do this. Remove this because I have to. One thing I hate about this is, okay, since you're listening to me, StreamYard, my next suggestion is make it so we can share audio from window tabs. That would be great. All right, so. Here we are. Let's hear what he has to say here.
I'm here with Mark Guggenheim at the Warner Brothers Arrow reunion. Mark, how are you feeling about Stephen Amell's comments about the strike?
You know, I spoke with Stephen last night, and we had a great talk. He really, did get completely sort of what he was saying really got misconstrued. He was in New York for Colin Donnell's play yesterday. He was picketing Warner Brothers Discovery this morning. Look, I think it's not my place to talk about another union and their strike, but Stephen is as supportive of SAG as he is of WGA. So I'm glad he's out, in New York. I'm glad he was picketing. I'm bummed that he wasn't here to join us today, but he sent me and Beth and Wendy a lovely text encouraging us. And he has our back, and we have his.
All right, there we go. So what do you think about that, Paigey?
Well, once again, it's very, I think it's a pretty smart response as well. I think that the fact I'm assuming it's because Stephen was the first one. Like, do you think if Jamie Lee Curtis had said her thing first and then Stephen Amell said his thing second, people would really overly care too much?
Mm-hmm. I think it's
because
Wait.
Like in regards to that much.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Zachary Levi, is that the one you're
So like
talking
if
about?
let's say Stephen Amell instead of being first in that situation was third.
Yeah.
Because really, you've just stopped hearing people talk about Jamie Lee Curtis and Zachary Levi for the most part.
Right.
But people are still going on about Stephen Amell.
Well, I think the difference is that and for me personally, is that Steven was actually promoting stuff on social media, and I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis and Zachary Levi were doing that.
To be fair, she sort of did.
When did she do it?
Well, she was at Comic-Con and she did the same thing Steven did, pretty much. It's like, I have this show coming out next week.
Did she?
Like mentioned, yeah, there's an interview or comment. I think she was promoting a book or something. It had to be. It wasn't a movie or a TV show. It was like a
it was a book,
book?
though, right?
It was a book or something like that. So she was
covered under
at Comic-Con. She was promoting the book, but then in the interviews when she was promoting the book, they referenced the strike, and she was like, "Well, I can't talk about the show that comes out next week."
Well, to be fair, she's been out on the line though. She's been out striking as well.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's more like if Stephen Amell came third, like, would it be that big of a deal? But like, okay, well, people will be like,
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, look. The reality is that it seems like everyone involved with Steven, with the exception of Kirk, because he middle fingers to the sky, seems to be very much not too pressed by what
the
Steven
thing.
did.
Well, as I said, anyone that was a working actor that had a gig lined up would probably agree with Steven. Unless like the majority of their friends are in the situation where like they do rely on residuals. So Kirk Acevedo, we talked about, is someone that would mostly rely on residuals.
And residual checks are shit. I don't know if you've seen them or not.
Well, he'd probably get like half decent ones from like some other stuff, but it'd be like any sort of, like, and Matt Ledger, for example, like the two actors that really made a comment are two actors that probably rely on residuals for a decent amount of their annual wage.
I will also say this, and we'll move on.
Kirk
from it,
played Richard Dragon or Ricardo Diaz.
Yeah. His TMZ interview didn't help. Like that interview probably did more damage to him than anything, because he said if he has to be the first one to cross the line.
I've seen you misconstrue this. Okay,
No, what do you say?
So when he crosses the line, do you think he literally means crossing the picket line?
Well, what do you think he means?
Like in regards to the line of like actually speaking out on it.
I think that's bad language. Then he should have known that would be misconstrued.
No, I think that's
bad language. I think that's bad language. Personally,
no, bad language would be a swear word, Eric. That you
no, we've done this before. You and I have gone back and forth on this. I think that you totally underestimate how people take things.
Do I just expect people to?
I think
be a bit more brighter or something.
I don't think people are the board. I don't think people take something and the takeaway is always the same. I think some people.
Oh no, obviously.
So if somebody uses that term when they're being asked about crossing the picket line,
but that's the thing.
If you're the first one to cross that line, I think it's a fair
that line, not that line, that line.
But that doesn't matter. Like you could pick another way of saying that. Like, is he just bad at saying things?
That,
I don't know.
Can we say okay? So could you have said that, Mark?
If I have to be the one to push the envelope, if I have to be the one to speak out, there's a lot of things you could have said. When we're talking about scabs crossing the picket line and you go, if I have to be the one to cross that line, literally you're basically confusing people on purpose at that point.
Oh, he's just making his point.
No. I think that you were in the shill union for Stephen Amell.
No, I've said that he could have worded his words better, because I think you'd have to be a bit silly to not understand what he's saying, to understand where he's coming from.
When you say something that can be taken two ways, you can't get mad when one half of the group takes it the other way.
Yeah, but I think it's also a responsibility of the half that's getting constantly triggered by something that doesn't involve them to sort of understand as well. Now, as I said, he shouldn't have said what he said exactly. I agreed with about 75% of what he's saying. I think most people would. But it's when you get to that 25% where he's saying like, what all those people down in Burbank or the downtown LA or New York or whatever is. When
you say you agree with him, you mean like the fact that he doesn't like striking? Is that what you're saying? Like the act of striking, or?
Well, it's just various things around that in regards to, I think that shutting down productions is a bit short-sighted because it affects many more people that are working on a set than actors. There's more people in the crew and stuff that now don't have jobs.
Right.
And I feel like they're not being talked about.
You mean like the production people?
Well, production people, whether it's a runner, whether it's even the food businesses and stuff like that, the catering businesses, which
But
from
is
what we
that
know,
the
there is
fault
some.
of the union, or is that the fault of the company?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's obviously like everyone's got a responsibility there because like they're the ones that went.
See, I sit in a place where it's like it's unfortunate that there are people that are caught up in this that aren't. But I think the takeaway is that these companies, these CEOs, are making way too much money off of the backs of the creative people, and the only leverage they have is their work. So my question would be, what else could they do to get fair work conditions if they didn't strike? What would be the other option for that?
For what? So instead of striking, what would they?
Yes, what would they do? Because that is all they have to offer is their labor. So if that's their only leverage, what else could they do to make Hollywood go, maybe we should listen to them?
Well, it's not about about shutting down productions exactly. It's about, was the path to literally striking and shutting down productions, did they follow the right path before doing that? Like, did they exhaust all options? Because that's usually what you do. You exhaust all options in regards to a negotiation thing, and then you go and do that.
Which we know now that neither side was able to negotiate. So what would be the next step after that? Striking is the only thing they had left at that point. Yeah,
but I think it's also in regards to like the consideration around that, because we know that they went to strike, and if they didn't get the support from those bigger actors, I think they'd be done now, or they'd be done in about 2 weeks. They wouldn't be able to keep doing it.
Right. So my question goes back to, if you don't agree with striking, what is the other leverage that they have to get their point across?
Well, it depends on what exactly you want.
Okay, so
because the thing is, one of my big that's one of my big concerns is that, and I've still yet to really hear people talk about it. I don't know necessarily where they're going to go on the residual thing. I don't know how they get anywhere to the point where it's that much of a change, but streaming services can either A, still exist, or B, be affordable to like the regular.
We're going to talk about, matter of fact, we'll talk about that in just a second, but finish your thought, because I have some comments.
Because I think if the AI thing, 100%, but I don't think you'd strike over that.
Right.
That seems like a really.
I don't think that. Okay, so I know that's an issue, but I don't think that's the main thing.
If that was headline issue AI, they wouldn't strike. They would just try and get something through government, like a law or something like that.
Right.
So the only thing is really the pay thing, and if there isn't like anything reasonable where it could lead up to that, which I still don't know the answer. The writing stuff, yes, because the writing usuly comes down on the Writers Guild. It's really employment hours, and we talked about, I think, last week how like the averages,
things like that.
It's gone down to like a 9-month full-time job to a 3-month, which is ridiculous. How does it go from 9 to 3? So that's feasible.
Like
so the writers
drop.
So immediately the writers strike makes a bit more sense, and they're the one that actually looks like they're going to get solved sooner rather than later in regards to that. Because the AI, once again, you wouldn't strike over that, but the pay you would. Because usually most stuff is, when people strike, it's usually about money. But I just don't understand how they're going to do it with the acting thing, with the residuals. And I haven't yet seen anyone make a thing, because I saw Hollywood, I think it was Hollywood Reporter. I don't know if you saw the article. I should have bookmarked it so I could send it to you. But they were talking about how they like what SAG wants and how it would work and everything, and it sounds like it would just be an absolute shitstorm if that's the way they did it.
Yeah, well, I do have an article.
The same people that are on strike right now saying I'm not getting residuals would be even more mad if that's the solution that's given, because pretty much, like what they were going to do is that they would sort of do like a ranking system in regards to how much like certain shows would get paid more per episode, and the shows that get paid more per episode just on a view would be the ones that are already popular.
And we also know that one of the big complaints they have is that streaming services like Netflix and HBO Max and all these other ones, they don't make all of those numbers available to the actors, so they don't know how well.
Well, no, that's the thing. That's the thing that SAG wants, that they have to give that data. That data has to be put out there. But the thing is that I think then that just sort of could actually support the studios, and because that could be like, well, hold on. This thing's only getting this amount of views per capita or whatever it is, or this amount of views per user. And I don't know how you are meant to, like, so how much do you pay for Netflix? Let's say $20. So $20 bucks. Let's say $20. but let's say Netflix is your only streaming service and you use it a lot every single day. It doesn't get really like, it doesn't revolve down when there's like thousands and thousands.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we've talked about the fact that Netflix expansion. Okay, look, here's the deal with Netflix. Let me talk about this right quickly, and then we'll get into the Netflix stuff. So Laura here has been a member for 41 months. Thank you so much, Laura. How feel about Billy Porter claims a strike made him sell his home? So this is only the beginning of that. We're going to see more and more actors that are losing things because of the strike. And he might be the first one to talk about it. I don't think he's the first one to lose stuff. I think other actors have probably lost stuff already.
There'd be people that, even if there's people that like rent or something that they've moved into, like an apartment with someone, or they, whatever it might be, or or that someone's remortgaged their house or something, whatever it is, something along those lines. You've probably got a bunch of those.
So this is sort of strike related, and when you watch this on playback, I'm just going to put strike as a timestamp because all this stuff kind of strikes together. But a lot of the streaming services are raising their prices by like a lot. Like,
and this is before there's even any sort of like major negotiation.
But see, this is my theory. My theory is that they know the CEOs are not going to take like a 5% cut in pay to pay writers and actors. You know where that money's going to come from?
Yeah, boy.
So I believe that the reason why this negotiation is dragging on is because they're waiting until all the services lock in these agreements on raising their fees for their streaming services. And then they'll go, hey, let's go back to the table. Let's go back to the table now, because now all of our users are footing the bill for the CEOs, and we don't have to worry about that. We can offer them a cut now that's going to be, the bill's going to be done by the consumers. Because I don't think look, I've said this before. I don't think CEOs and shareholders and all that, they will never take cuts for this kind of stuff.
No,
it will never happen. The money that goes to the creatives will always come from the consumers.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. So AMPTP makes counter proposal to WGA, negotiations recess but will resume next week. Again, I'm telling you right now, this is because they're raising the prices on stuff. And down here it says the key issues. These are the key issues that are remaining for specifically for the writer strike right here. Yeah, it's not actors, it's just writers. It's a 102-day-old strike. Wow. Holy shit. Viewership-based streaming residuals. Now, Paige, you just talked about this. I think this is the biggest issue. This is probably the number one biggest issue, is the residuals. So viewership-based streaming residuals, the preservation of writer's room, which we also talked about that. We talked about, you mentioned it, like going from like 9 months to 3 months, that kills so much of the writer's room and writers working on content. Through minimum staffing and guaranteed days of employment and guardrails against the use of artificial intelligence to write scripts. So to me, it sounds like the AI thing is at the bottom of the priority list for them. It's like they want some sort of protection on it, but it's not the sticking point. And the reason why is I think the writers actually use AI to help with their own writing. So they know they can't be too strict on it because they obviously use it for certain things.
Yeah.
So I believe, this is my personal belief, if they come back to the table with some kind of deal on residuals, some kind of offer for the writing room, and minimal guardrails on AI, they could wrap this up tomorrow. But the problem is that residual stuff, like you were saying, Paigey, where is that money going to come from? Are they going to have to work that into contracts before they ever even start making a show? Are residuals a thing of the past? That's the question. Are we going to do away with residuals?
That was my what my thing was, and I was thinking, I think it's too big of a change where they'd even put it through, but I'm surprised this wouldn't be the system that they do anyway. And that there's a bigger upfront. So once a show comes out, like, let's say you get paid, I don't know, let's just say $4,000 for writing an episode.
Right.
I don't know if that's too much or too less. It depends how much you're writing, I guess.
Right.
For an episode.
It's an arbitrary number. Just go with it.
Yeah, just $4,000. That's it. That's your base payment. Or let's say it's $4,000 at the moment. You get $5,000, so you get more upfront. But because I don't know what the system is, and I think for like a guild or a union or whatever it is, like, or an association like this, do you think actors and writers would prefer that they had like 5% of every job that they ever booked, whether it was the biggest role of a lifetime when they got paid $100,000 or something, or a side gig where they got paid $1,000 for 2 days work or something? 5% of that went into like a retirement fund that they could access when they turned 45, 50 or something.
Yeah. I
Okay,
don't know. That's a good question. I have no.
You worked from when
solid
you were
answer
like
to that.
20, 24 up to when you're 45, and you had like 5% of every single job you took put into a retirement fund. For most people,
So do you mean like a 401k type situation?
sort of,
something
yeah,
that,
like a
or-
superannuation sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that still exists at the moment. I'd assume not, because you're hearing about all these
Yeah.
like actors that are in their 40s and stuff like that saying, well, I did this big show, 10 years ago, and I get nothing for it at the moment. Like, it's pretty much like a pension of sorts, but it's like a superannuation sort of thing.
So you had a member chat here. This is from Dino Dragon here. Sabris, I still have your super chat. We're gonna answer it in between this and the next topic. Dino Dragon's a member for 9 months. Unless I'm completely uneducated, the WGA website says the median pay for new members is $75,000. So the problem is that's not accurate. They've already proven that $26,000 a year is the beginning for healthcare,
So
and the vast majority of them don't make 26.
I think Dino Dragon might be referencing the screenwriters, so ones that write movies. So if you sell a script to an American studio, the minimum that they have to pay, I think,
75,000. Right?
Yeah, I think it's actually 80, but then well, actually it might be 75, but I think most end up selling them for about 90 to 1,000
Right.
because the studios will accommodate for tax.
There's no way a TV writer is making that amount of
fees
money.
and stuff, but I think that's just for movie writers. So like, I don't know, whoever, someone that's written a movie script. So if someone sells a movie script, they probably got paid around 80 grand.
Yeah,
for that.
So Robert doesn't like your concept about the pension. That's not cool, Paige, because it's saying we'll keep pulling your pants over this main issue is a money management. I guess because of the whole idea of like putting it into like a plan, program, retirement, whatever you want to call it. I think the thing is that we're just throwing out ideas. I don't think there is a.
How's that not cool, Robert, though? I think that's a smart thing. I'm not saying that's the solution, but I'm saying I think that makes a lot of sense that you would. I mean, if I was an actor, I'd probably go 5%. Okay, yeah, I want to get Chipotle for that day or something like that, and that's your 5% for that, probably that one job or that weekly or whatever it is. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that seems like a pretty reasonable thing. They won't do it. I don't think they would. Because it's probably cheaper than the moment just to hand out. So
TV writers are weird because they get paid, like if you're a writer for episodes, you get paid per episode. So you don't get paid like a bulk amount.
Writer's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is part of the issue. That's why this is happening, because TV writers and streaming show writers are the ones that get screwed over the most, because like that's movie writers, that's a different situation.
And that's why it goes back to that thing we were talking about before about going from 9 months to 3 months. So they go from 9 months of weekly employment in a writer's room down to 3 months, and that's considered a full-time job, that 3 months. So then they have 9 months where either they can potentially go get another job, but a lot of the time that 3 month period is in the middle of the TV writing season. So there's not many jobs outside of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we had a super chat here from Sabris. Imagine Ian Hexcock as Green Arrow in the DCU. I don't know who that is.
I have no idea either.
That person up. I'm gonna pull the picture up. Hold on. Ian Hexcock, I guess. He's a comedian. So here we go. This is here we go. We'll pull the screen. This is what he looks like here. I don't really know much about him. So
the dude from Smosh. I'm assuming that's.
Is it the dude from Smosh?
Yeah. Is that just a troll comment? Is that like meant to be like an actual suggestion?
Yeah, I see the pictures now. I haven't seen Smosh videos since I was like a decade ago or something. It's been a while.
I was in high school when they were like doing their stuff.
Thank you for the super chat. All right, we got a couple more quick things about the strike, and then we're going to move on because I know you guys are probably tired of hearing about it. So here we go. CAA, which is the agency that represents a lot of actors, laid off 60 agents.
And I told you about this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So this is kind of the umbrella effect, I guess, for what's happening.
It's not the umbrella effect. It's someone got food poisoning, and
is it a landslide?
I don't know, someone dropped like a dead rat in a stew, and then everyone ate it.
So the reason why this is happening is because they can't hire anyone.
Well, it's not that. It's also the fact of like there's people that work for those companies that their job is literally around current projects and stuff
Right.
like that. And it's the same thing would be happening at studios as a whole, but for like the lower people, production companies. Like if you're an intern that was working at, I don't know, whatever, Belanti Productions or whatever,
Mhm.
you'd be like, well, God, we don't need you. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, you're not doing anything. It's not
If
gonna
you were
work.
if you were a social media manager, you were probably fired. If you were somebody that was doing any kind of like viral videos for them, you're probably fired. It like literally this is going to keep happening. But again, this is part of the thing is they are doing this because this is the only leverage they have to see if the studios are going to. Like,
that's the big thing. That's
like
I think
game,
that's
it's like a game of like what is it where you like race towards each other? Chicken, where they're trying to see which side is going to flinch first.
That's
pretty much what it is.
But that's a big thing is that I think if the SAG don't get anything, because I think they're going to get the AI thing across the board because that's just a simple thing. But I know we're going in circles here. I just don't know how they sort that money thing.
So do you think the AI thing is an easier fix than the residual pay?
I think it's an easy thing to come to terms with the studio is like, they've been making movies for over 100 years. You don't need to change it with little, things like that. And I think that's an easy. I think if you're whoever the negotiator for SAG is and you can't get that across the line, probably shouldn't be a negotiator. Yeah. But the money thing, I just don't know how they're going to solve that. Right. I'm still at odds with that. I don't know how
Last bit here, we're going to move on. We're going to end this on a high note. So this is actually good news right now. SAG-AFTRA interim agreements, list of movies and series granted waivers. Now, there's a lot of them. We're not going to go through them, but here it says SAG-AFTRA, which launched a strike against Hollywood studios on July 14th, launches interim agreements program that allows independent productions with no direct ties to members of the Alliance of Motion Picture Television producers to continue filming. The Guild has been adding to the list of projects granting agreements since soon after it went on strike, after failing to agree on a new film and TV contract. So here it says that prominent projects on the list so far include The Chosen, which we talked about. This is that CW.
Wasn't that your favorite show at the moment? Isn't that like
definitely
your weekly?
Not.
I heard you were loving that.
Definitely not. The A24 films. Yeah, absolutely. I've got my Jesus outfit in the closet. Mother Mary and I Dream of Unicorns both were A24 films, which are continuing to go on. Apple TV's Terran is still going. Actors are able to continue working on other agreements, include Anne Hathaway, Dakota Fanning, Glenn Close, James Baddeley, Ben Foster, Graham Greene, Melissa Leo, among others. Movies from the likes of Guy Ritchie and Destin Alan Spielberg have been granted casting agreements. So other agreements include films clearance to prominent festivals. A notable film in that category is Michael Mann's Ferrari, which is driving toward a world premiere at the Venice Fan Festival at the end of this month. And then if you look here, there's a lot of stuff that has been allowed to continue because they're independent productions. So this is kind of a silver lining. It looks like some people are getting to work. Now, there are some actors. I think it was, who was it recently that was granted a waiver and said no? I think it was
Viola Davis, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Viola Davis. You're right. They were. She was allowed to go, and she says, "No, I'm not going to do it," and so has decided against continuing to film. How do you feel about it? Do you think that's a good thing to stand with that kind of solidarity, or no?
I don't know. I think if you're gonna do this and you're gonna like say, I don't know how you can probably work on a wavered project and then be like, go strikes. Because you're working, like
right? I know. That's what I mean.
To me, that's like, I feel like that's a bit hypocritical. Like, I feel like it's definitely a bit of a gray area. It's almost like Eric saying, like you can't eat fast food. You can't eat fast food, and then you see Eric just sort of like snacking on some fries, not going for the full meal, but just snacking on some fries while he's driving down the street. Right. It's a bit like, hold on.
Let's segue into our next topic, which is the fact that Barbie was almost Gal Gadot.
I saw that. Well, I saw like them talk about it previously. Yeah.
Do you think this movie would have made over $1 billion with Gal Gadot as Barbie?
No, and that's why Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are now going to earn ridiculous amount of money for any project they do going forward because they're the ones that sold the movie.
So
I think the movie still would have made probably a decent amount, depending on if it was still the same tone and feel to it, but I don't think so. I think I don't think Gal Gadot's good, like versatile enough as an actress to do this role. Well, I think Margot Robbie is.
Do you think it would have been cool to have her as a Barbie?
They could have, but I don't think they would have, because if you look at everyone outside of Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, everyone else in the Barbie land is like a TV actor. It's like not of note that much. Like no one would have gone to see Barbie for anyone outside of Margot Robbie or Ryan Gosling. So I don't. It could have been like a cameo thing, or maybe even like the old, I don't know, something like that. But at that point, there wasn't really any like cameo sort of stuff going on in the movie, so like it would have maybe been a bit jarring.
I can't imagine her like, I'm looking at these pictures here, and obviously Margot Robbie doesn't have
actually.
To do
they
much
could have
to look
done
like
that.
Barbie.
They did have a Wonder Woman Barbie, so they could have done something like that. But it is Warner Brothers, so they could have easily, rights wise, done that. But
why not do it as a end credit scene? That would have been funny. Because that's what she's been doing, cameos. I
was going to say, do you want the music? The that popping up.
Looking at these two pictures, though, Margot Robbie really doesn't have to do a lot to look like Barbie. Just in general, like she literally just looks like Barbie standing there, pretty much. In her defense, this is from the movie, so she is done up like Barbie here. I don't know if I can see Gal Gadot as Barbie.
Well, also, if they did Gal Gadot, would they make her blonde? Like they put a blonde wig on her?
Yeah,
like,
I was wondering.
It might have looked a bit weird.
That would look really weird. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. But to continue the Gal Gadot news, it wasn't just Barbie she was in the news for this week. So Wonder Woman 3 won't fly in the new DC universe despite Gal Gadot teasing development plans. Now, I ended up doing a whiplash on this because earlier in the week, it came out that she sat down with James Gunn, Peter Safran in a meeting and was supposedly told directly by them that they were going to rework a third Wonder Woman movie together, the three of them. And that was the plan for Wonder Woman moving forward, which obviously some people were not happy with that because that meant that she was going to stay in the DCU.
Which I think we talked about. I'm like, when did everyone start hating Gal Gadot?
I don't know. I don't know either. That was a little weird to me.
Cat or something.
But the other thing is now apparently that's not the case. Apparently that's not true. Some source, and I'm using air quotes on purpose here, some source, because they haven't said who it is, says that this is not the case. There's no Wonder Woman 3 movie in development.
Yeah.
So
the issue with this article is that it's sort of been proven that it's got some contradicting things. Because they do say in the article that like there's no plans to use the Wonder Woman character in the DCU, and then James Gunn replied to something a couple of months ago. I think it was another Variety article where they'd said Wonder Woman won't be in the first 3 or 4 years of the DCU, and James Gunn said that's not true.
Right. I did see that.
So just like, well, which is it? And they're both Variety articles. So, and James Gunn hasn't said anything about this at all.
I also want to point out it's really tough because Variety is typically a pretty reliable source of information, but with everything that's going on,
who knows if they're talking to the right person?
Right. That's my big thing here. How do you feel about the idea of Wonder Woman staying in the DCU? How do you feel about it in general? Are you for it?
The reason I think Gal Gadot makes the most sense easily out of any, outside of probably Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, who I think is probably going to stay. If Margot wants to stay, they'll keep her. I didn't even be an idiot after Barbie.
Especially after Barbie. After Barbie, no way.
With Gal Gadot, she's the only other person, probably alongside Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, that is identifiable as they are that character to like the most people in the the street and stuff like that. So, and here's the thing, Eric. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put $20 on the line.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, anyone that's watching now can bring it up whenever it gets potentially proven wrong, and I'll do like a raffle or something, and someone gets a $20 gift voucher or whatever it is. If they do recast Gal Gadot, I bet you people bitch and moan about the recasting.
You think so?
Not necessarily about the recasting itself, but whoever they pick. I bet you they bitch and moan about it because that's the internet. Bitching, whinging, and moaning.
So, Anthony, this is an interesting comment. A lot of people seem to forget that James has been saying for a while, or at least showing for a while, that he's willing to like pick certain people and keep them.
Yeah, the issue as well is saying like we don't need Gal Gadot. We're going for a hard reboot. Meanwhile, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller walks through the door. Meanwhile, On this side, we have
John
Peacemaker.
Cena Peacemaker. Yeah.
Meanwhile, coming through the door is the supporting cast of Peacemaker that were in the Suicide Squad.
And here's Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn because they'll probably keep her too. So
yeah. It's sort of stupid. Like I know it's
this-
Twitter. Like you really shouldn't think you're gonna get too much of a smart response over there, but it's still funny to see that.
You know, it's weird to me because at this point, should they just start over like completely? Do you think it should be like a clean
At this
slate
point,
thing?
people should just listen to what James Gunn said when he came in. He said he was going to keep what he feels worked and what he feels didn't work. He'll
Right.
retool.
No. I get that. I'm not disagreeing with that. Your personal opinion, how do you feel about it? Do you think that it should be a clean slate? Do you agree with like keeping people or no? Or just fuck all of them, get out?
I don't necessarily have an opinion on
about
whether it should be this or that because it depends what James Gunn wants to do specifically in regards to his story. If the story revolves around sort of pretending that other stuff didn't happen, I don't know, then yeah, you probably go for the reboot. But the thing is that he, I guess, really feels like Viola Davis has to be his Amanda Waller, that he has to keep Peacemaker around, that he has to keep these characters around, whatever it might be. But it would feel weird. Like, and it probably feel weird for like someone like Gal Gadot. Maybe not if they did Wonder Woman 3, but if they go do Justice League and just like she's there as Wonder Woman, it's just got these other, completely new people.
Do you think she can't act? A lot of people don't think she's very good as Wonder Woman.
I don't think she's a great actress, but I think she's good as Wonder Woman. I think you'd have to be a bit silly.
So you think she should be fired then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if we're basing it off, Ball Liquor 4 on Twitter or whatever it is, then yeah.
If we look back at the DCEU, if you had to pick 3 characters that work, say you had to pick 3 that you thought were good enough to move forward from the DCEU to the DCU, who would be your picks if you were James Gunn? Who would have been your picks?
Gal Gadot, Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, and
the third one's rough. Go ahead.
I don't know if the third one's necessarily overly rough. It's more just like there's not a clear...
I can tell you who I think works, but I don't know if they really care anymore. And for me, it would be Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Yeah.
You know who else would have really worked? But it's unfortunate they've kind of digging their own, put themselves down in the ground as Cyborg, Ray Fisher. I think he was really good in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It wasn't a bad character at all.
Yeah, but he's also like a depressing character, so it's like...
You think so?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like someone that stands out as like a third.
Wait a minute, are you not going to pick Jason Momoa? You don't think Jason Momoa was a good choice?
Well, I think Jason Momoa is there, but I'm like, it's also one where I'm like, that I think.
Wait a minute, is Shazam considered DCEU to you? Like, would that be
like as in like
Zachary Levi as Shazam? Because you like that movie.
If I think they'd have to just have him there as Shazam, like it's just Zachary Levi.
So you don't want the transformation between Billy
and... Like I think he just just acts like because you could. I don't think you'd do a Shazam 3, but he just show up as Shazam, and like it's not often in the comics and stuff like that.
Black Adam.
Well, if you want that, you can have it.
A lot of people in the chat are probably like, they're not picking Henry Cavill, the Superman.
Well, no, because he got fucking recast already.
Yeah.
Hasta la vista.
Do you think starting with a fresh Batman is the right idea?
I think it's going to be probably a bit confusing because of the Robert Pattinson thing. Because there's also a chance where you probably have there is a chance that the Batman 2 and that Batman Brave and the Bold come out like a year apart.
Right.
And that could be mixed in with the same promotional cycle depending on release dates and like Comic-Con and stuff.
Hey, Naruto upgraded. Thank you so much, Naruto. I appreciate it. I don't know if you redid or if you re-upped or you upgraded. It just said something like that. So thank you for being a part of the team. Much appreciated. So a lot of people are saying here, like Emmanuel says, Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, and Dr. Fate. So Dr. Fate was sort of gone though, right? I mean,
he got yeeted.
Yeah.
Well, I have heard, I don't know if this is true, that you want Jared Leto's Joker to come back.
I do, actually.
And this is after James Gunn called him a pedophile as well. So you'd love to see them two in a room.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. The one from Suicide Squad. I think Zachary Levi is done. Do you agree with that? Do you think he's done? Or do you think he just hasn't heard anything back from them?
No, well, him and James Gunn are friends. So
people love Dr. Fate, and Hawkman. Hawkman was fine. I don't know if Hawkman would work in the DCU, honestly, but
I don't know that Hawkman would work with the new Hawk Girl because that Hawk Girl's
Right.
like 2 foot tall. So I don't even know how they're going to make that work on screen. But
all right. So if you're a Team Airrick member, you know that I asked a question last week,
uh-oh.
and we're going to get
What
into that
flavor
now.
banana do you
So-
like?
So if you would like to, take part in these polls, you can become a Team Airrick member and voice your opinion in the community tab. And the question that was decided on, let me read out exactly how it was worded because I don't want to get it wrong here.
If
The
you
questions
were
that the options that I gave in the community tab for Team Airrick members were, what would you like for Paigey and myself to answer during the after party? The least picked one was rank the DCEU films. That was the one that was only 13% voted for that one. Top 5 favorite DC films, only 26% voted for that one. However, top 3 favorite Arrowverse episodes was a 61% sweep. So 61%.
61% sweep.
Yeah. Of Team Airrick members wanted to hear that. So we're going to do our top 3 favorite Arrowverse episodes before we get into our next topic. So, Paigey, would you like to go with your first choice first, or would you like me to go first?
I haven't really listed them in order, I don't think.
These are in no order either. These are just my
I
top.
just wrote from like the top of my head. But the first episode I put was episode 10 of season 9, The Flash: A New World Part 1. I think it was called Reunions.
That's a really interesting one. For me, my first one is going to be probably The Runaway Dinosaur.
The Runaway Dinosaur, eh?
You didn't like that one?
I don't mind it, but I don't know if it'd be in my top 3.
I love that episode. What? You're making me feel bad now. I love that episode. I thought that was a good episode. I like yours too. Are you looking it up now to remind yourself about?
No. I'm typing. Does Eric have issues?
Oh no, I definitely don't have it. I picked that one because I think it's a really good Barry episode. I think it's a really strong episode for him as a character, personally. Why did you pick that one though? Your choice.
Just a good episode from beginning to end, outside of that Chester and Allegra scene. It's like a Chester and Allegra scene at the beginning.
Isn't that 10 out of 10 for you?
Well, for you it would be 10 out of 10, and the rest was like a 2 out of 10. That's probably why you didn't list it.
Okay. What was your next choice then?
I got Arrow, season 8, episode 1, Starling City.
Remind me of that one. What was that one?
It's when he's on Earth 2. And it's like Malcolm Merlin's married to Moira Queen. Adrian Chase is the Green Arrow.
Let's see.
And then at the end, they like Earth 2 gets destroyed. It's the first like thing of Crisis.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good one. I think that one's good. So for my next choice, this one might be a little bit controversial, but I think the ending of it kind of seals it for me. And that is Leanne Yu from Arrow.
Okay.
That's the season 5 finale for people that don't remember. That is where we think that everyone is dead except for Oliver. So
yeah. And William.
Yes, and William. I absolutely love that one. That was one of my favorites. And I also think that was the perfect wrap up for a season because I think that Prometheus was great that season. So for me, that episode was definitely the perfect wrap up for me in terms of episodes. Okay. So what is your last one in your top 3 favorite Arrowverse episodes for today? Because it'll probably change tomorrow, but for today.
Okay. From season 4, Girls Night. No, sorry. Flash season 1, episode 23, the finale, Fast Enough.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's like the perfect cap for a season because I think season 1 as a full like beginning to end season is like a perfect
story.
Season of TV.
Stuff like that,
yeah. Okay, so for my final choice, I was kind of caught between 2 episodes. Originally, I was Yes, that one and Girls Night Out. And Run Irish Run.
I'm not surprised.
My first initial thought on this was going to be Enter Flash Time, because I think as a singular episode of The Flash, it's really, really good. But I kicked that one out because I do love that one.
Oh, booted.
And I went for the one that I think has the most visually striking Barry moment when it comes to a villain, and that is Enter Zoom, which is the episode where Zoom drags Barry around the city. I'm not even joking. I was going to write down Enter Zoom as my first option. When I was writing them down, I thought Eric will choose it, so I'll let him have it, so he doesn't look like an idiot. You know, I love that season. That's my favorite season of The Flash, season 2. So, anyway, thank you so much, Team Airrick members. Shout out to you guys. We will be doing these every week. So if you are a Team Airrick member, make sure you check the community tab during the week until you see this question, and make sure you answer that over there so your voice can be heard. And if you would like to participate in answering this as well, you can become a Team Airrick member and join our polls join our polls. Nut check. Join our polls every single
I thought you were calling them pole dancers.
Yes, absolutely. Pole dancers. But anyway, so there we go. All right, next topic we're going to talk about is the upcoming movie Blue Beetle. We've got some critical reactions to this.
Eric loves Blue Beetle.
Look, I don't know how well this movie is going to do, but we do have some first reactions for this, and I have some criticisms about the way they're framing this film, as always. So here's the issue. Let me talk anecdotally for a second. I'm probably not going to be able to see this movie. What are you laughing about? What's so funny? What's funny?
Join the poll.
Yes. The theaters near me.
Eric.
The theaters near me are not playing this movie.
Yeah, you told me that. I reckon they've done that intentionally to piss you off.
I mean, maybe. So,
do you think they have hidden cameras around where you walk in, like, where is my Blue Beetle, man? Where's my Blue Beetle?
Like the Truman Show, maybe.
Well, something like that, and then you put on your MAGA hat, and then
yeah.
Ironically for Blue Beetle,
well, Blue, obviously he's Democratic, so
no, because the villain in the movie is a red beetle.
That's true. So it's Republicans versus Democrats. So here's the thing.
Caught nut checking. What?
Can't see this movie. Well, first of all, Paige doesn't give a fuck because he can't see it for a month anyway.
Doesn't come out till September.
He's gonna get spoiled away because he's got to wait a month. So
if I see this movie in theaters, I would be shocked because I know I'm gonna have it spoiled for me. And to be honest, I think the trailers look arse anyway. So it's as I said before. They do. You can't sit there and say the trailers look good. Don't say
Shots fired.
Don't say what is this, a McDonald's ad? Don't say
Shots fired.
Okay, give me your honest opinion on the trailers then. Don't throw me under the bus and go.
The trailers were brilliant.
You're an idiot. You are an idiot. You are a grade A dum bum bum.
I said from the beginning that I actually think the trailer gave away too much of the movie. The second trailer, personally.
Wait, what's this? What did Ethan say? Latinos are voting more and more for Republicans. So Eric isn't actually far off.
Well, I'm not Latino.
No, I think he's saying because Blue Beetle's a Latino.
Oh, okay,
led movie.
The whole battle of like red and blue. Yeah. All right. So. So I'm not even going to ask Paige if he's going to see it in theaters because I
don't think I will. If it came out this week, I probably would. But because it's coming out a month late, I know I'm going to have everything spoiled. It could get to the point where it's announced that it's coming out digital like a week after it comes out here. To the point where I'm like, well, why would I bother?
Right. So here's the deal. Where I live at is a resort city, right? So there's big chain theaters like AMC and Regal. But they're in like the very touristy areas. So where I am, it's a smaller set of chains. We have cinema cafes, which are the primary theaters in this area. It's owned by a local company.
Has anyone ever dropped a burger in the theater?
pretty sure they have. It would not be.
That would be hilarious. It'd just be
5-second rule. Would you eat it if it fell on the floor? Would you?
Okay, so here's the situation. You're by yourself in the theater.
Mhm.
The guy waddles in, has the food, flings it down you, doesn't spill at that point. You go to pick up the burger, but you squish it and the innards come out the other side. Do you pick up the quadruple, triple, cheesy cheeseburger off the floor and eat it because no one else is there? Or do you just let it be and let it rot on the floor?
I don't like eating floor burger. I'm not a floor burger.
Well, you're insinuating that it's okay to pick it up.
No, I said 5-second rule. I didn't say
okay, after 5 seconds you pick it up, it's covered in carpet and popcorn.
I was definitely not being ooh, that's fucking gross. That's fucking gross.
Why did it take you so long to react to that?
Don't give me that visual. Like
what,
I had to think about
burger?
it. Yeah, I had to think about it. That's
I don't know. Like, hold on. Would it look like this? Hold on.
Oh no, I don't want to see this. This is gonna be so gross. This is gonna be gross. I can see it already. The way you're laughing. Did you find it? Did you find one? Oh no.
That's Eric's burger.
I apologize for anybody that's actually eating right now.
That's like the little bit of popcorn there.
I apologize. That looks really disgusting. By the way, this reminds me. Futurama season 11, I think, is out on Hulu now. So
why? This is from SpongeBob. I don't know why I'd make you think.
No, but it's a cartoon. I was thinking about Futurama. So anyway, Eric lives in a resort area, like a retirement community. I wish it was a retirement community. It's expensive.
Actually, didn't I tell that story of the guy that peed on the floor in the theater?
You did. You did. Absolutely. 100%.
That makes the thing even worse.
Anthony here, a Team Airrick member for 35 months. Thank you so much. Says the Blue Beetle suit looks great. I'm not going to disagree. I think the suit does look good. I think it's a really good, like, superhero comic book to live action suit. Do you hate the suit, Paigey? No? Yes?
I like the fact it's practical.
Okay. Fair enough. So the issue is if I want to see this movie, I've got to drive 30 minutes to see it because none of the local theaters that I go to have it. We also have a couple of like, do you have these in Australia, these historical theaters, like the ones that they lock in and they're considered to be like historic? Like, okay, so we have a place called the Commodore. Let me explain it to you so you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we have a place called the Commodore. You walk in, it's like the 1920s, 1930s. You sit down at these tables with these, frou-frou thingies. And it used to be a real theater where like people would perform on stage, but they've converted it into a movie theater. So those places. We have some of those as well. They're like destination theaters, but they only pick one movie. And right now, Barbie and Oppenheimer are the only movies playing in those particular theaters. Also, I think Oppenheimer is getting IMAXs for like another, 2 weeks or something?
It's a month, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So I don't think theaters want to pull down popular movies to put Blue Beetle out, considering it's tracking at 30 million.
Well, Barbie made 58 million domestically or whatever it was last week. It's probably make maybe like another 30, maybe 40 million this weekend. Yeah. I mean,
so Blue Beetle's opening weekend is tracking lower than Barbie's drop off, potentially.
After a month.
Yeah.
Edgy.
Do you think this has anything to do with the fact the Flash didn't perform well? Do you think that might have something to do with it? Or
I think it's also like, I mean, people want to go see movies that like look good in the trailers. Mm-hmm. And I think like Blue Beetle could be good, It could easily be good. But the thing is, the trailers have done a horrible job. And I don't blame that necessarily on the movie if it ends up being good. It's probably blaming on the advertising people. Release a good trailer. Or at least the trailer doesn't show everything.
I want the chat to chime in on this, right? Because I think this is quite interesting.
Because I think that's one of the things that plays into both Barbie and Oppenheimer is that they have like enticing trailers. Like the Oppenheimer, like it has that, like, it's going to be that like tense ass movie that you're waiting for all this stuff to happen. And then Barbie has that, like, with its trailer, it gets you excited, but also in the actual movie, it's surprising in regards to what it addresses and what it talks about and what wasn't in the trailers. and what the
Yeah.
overall like theme of the movie is, and then and then it creates a talking point. I think when a movie is exactly what the trailer shows, I think that a lot of times it doesn't end up being good because maybe it doesn't create a discussion point. It's like, you don't have to go see it. You saw everything in the trailer.
So a lot of people have said, and I want the chat to chime in on this, that Blue Beetle was made for the Power Ranger generation, this version of Blue Beetle. Do you agree with that? That the way his costume is, the way his powers work are very Power Ranger-esque? Do you think that's true or false?
Yeah, maybe, or it's like full like MCU Iron Man era or something like that, maybe. But
I've seen a lot of people say that this movie looks like the Power Ranger movie.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I don't know, like the general public. I don't know who would sit there and go watch the trailer and go, I need to see that. Sign me up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue with the advertising. Maybe that's the issue with just the material as well. Like it is like a guy as a giant blue beetle. Like it's.
So let's
maybe
kind
that's
of read through some of these quick because we've got a few of them here. Brandon Davis says the Blue Beetle movie is mostly a blast. Some is too silly or childish for me. Had a lot of time laughing out loud. George Lopez. Practical suit rocks. Latino representation is awesome. Enjoyed the family-centric stakes. Solid action beats. Overall fun. This sounds like a Don't Shoot the Messenger review to me.
Yeah, going off first reactions, and we said it before, is that like a lot of the times they get to say a couple of sentences and they're not gonna. Also, these are people that want to get quoted on like trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of time reactions, that's what will happen.
But
so
you know what? These reviews all sound the same too. Like,
well, you can see it like in this article here, the direct, they even go like they highlight in bold above. They go a massive win for DC, so incredibly good and so unique. And I'm not saying that's not what the movie is, but I'm saying like that with the reactions, these like people that are writing them, that's what they're going for. They're trying to get the quotes in the trailers and stuff like that because it helps advertise their brand or who they are or whatever it is.
One thing I want to say that does stand out to me is it seems like they're putting the focus on culture right up front, which I think is smart for the movie, because I think in general, people that are going to see this film want to see that there because it is such a big part of Imy's like character. So I think they nailed that. So that's fine.
You hope so.
Also, the people that are like, oh, nobody gives a fuck about family. Look, the Fast and the Furious movie has basically been advertised as family for years.
Yeah.
Like it's all about family, right? I mean, that's what the movie was.
Well, I think they turned like the meme into like an actual promotional tool for the film.
So are you against meme culture now? Is that what it is? You don't like meme
Well,
culture?
it depends what the meme is. It depends if the meme is dead or the meme is thriving.
Yeah. One of the things here, this one got me. Blue Beetle is my favorite post-Nolan DC film. Like, God, ugh.
That's the issue because that has to be Cap. Like that has to be.
Look, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with someone saying that, right? But it says Blue Beetle is my favorite post-Nolan DC film. It's action-packed.
Well, to be fair,
about family, and there's nothing.
They say favorite. They do say favorite. They don't say best. So,
no, which is why I said it's a fair statement.
Yeah.
But I wish people look. This is I'm begging people that criticize film and reviews or whatever, do not attach a current project to something that was extremely successful and go, it was this thing. It's better than this thing. It's my favorite thing since this thing, because it puts an unreasonable amount of pressure on this film for certain people. Because some people that love the Nolan stuff are going to go, oh, it's this person's favorite thing since the Nolan movies. Those were my favorite movies. So they're going to go into this expecting it to be that. And if it doesn't do that, they're going to be like, I didn't like it.
Yeah. Like, I think if I'm giving my prediction, I think Blue Beetle is going to be fun for like kids. Like, you know, like maybe like, I don't know, like what, 10 to like 13, 12-year-olds and stuff like that. Like, I think that's what they made the movie
a lot of
for.
people say that it is very much for kids. It feels like a kid's movie.
Especially when like Blue Beetle's most recognizable through shows like Young Justice and everything like that. I mean, they have to think that's the aim. That
look, it's your friend Ben here. He says Blue Beetle is an electric and thrilling ride.
I still find it hilarious. Apparently, Ben's name isn't even Benjamin. It's just Ben. His parents went, your name's Ben.
Is it really?
Apparently, because apparently when I sent him that food package when he wasn't dogging it, I wrote Benjamin, and he told me that like if it went to the post office and he wasn't home, it's not his legal name. So I don't know if he's I don't know if I'm doxing Ben, but like, do you know anyone that's just called Ben? Like, they usually it's like Benjamin
Yeah.
or Benji or something like that.
It's a shortened version of that, a longer name typically.
Yeah. It's like how you're Eric, but it's Erickson. So, like, I was just, yeah, I don't know. Does anyone know anyone that's just called Ben? They're not Benjamin. I thought that was maybe that's. And I was confused.
So the last thing we're going to touch on here before we move on to the final topics of today's stream is the numbers for Blue Beetle. So,
oh yeah,
they've been updated. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Originally, it was going to be like 12 to 17 million, which would have been a absolute disaster. This next number isn't clear for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not free and clear, but they're saying 30 million now. Do you think 30 million is a safe bet for this movie on opening weekend, or do you think that it's not going to make that much money?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with this type of movie because also the studio, I think, would probably be underestimating as well. It's been a year of underestimations.
Right.
They strike low, so then they can go to things like this movie beats expectations. This movie defies expectations. Whatever it is. Right. So maybe they think it's probably going to make 35 to 40. So they set it low at 30. But then, I don't know exactly where it's going to lie. Like, the issue is, and I have no idea who's lying and who's not, but I keep seeing people saying, my theater's sold out.
Yeah.
If that was the case, it's just this one random theater. Like, it's just this one sold theater. So, like, that's an issue. Like, is it real or not? Is it? And I know people like just maybe it's like a Twitter thing, you know, like because like the whole Blue Beetle's like slowly becoming Morbius. Have you noticed social media stuff? It's like Morbius thing, and I think people don't realize that, but it's like you don't sort of. Anyway, whatever. You don't want to because it doesn't look as bad as Morbius. But I don't know. It could easily make 30. Could easily make 40. It's one of those ones where I don't know if anyone really has a great idea outside of maybe looking at the tickets and stuff like that. I'd look for tickets, but it doesn't come out for a month. They're not on sale. You'd look for tickets, but they're not even at your local theater.
They're not selling at the theater I'm at, right? So,
can you go to your closest AMC and have a look?
Yeah, let me see. Hold on.
Because I'd be very curious because I can't access it because I get like you're not from this area.
Right,
you can't look at this.
Let's go to Fandango.
Fandango. Rango. Twerk.
Okay. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 theaters playing it near me. Let me see. Is there one that I can pick seating? Should I pick Friday night? Let's do Friday. I don't want to do the Thursday.
Last Friday night.
Friday at 6:40. No, should I do 6:40 or 9 o'clock? I wonder. Let's do 5:45. Let's see. Oh. Okay.
Is that a good O or a bad O?
Let me share. Okay, this is Friday at 5:45.
Is that like a
hold on? I'm going to share the screen. So in this website, seats that are open are blue. Taken seats are red. Here we go.
Wait, it's completely empty.
Yeah.
No way. That's got to be a JF.
There's 0 red seats. Let's back out of this and we'll look at another time here. Let's do, what was that, 5:45? Let's do 6:40.
Wait, so what color would it have to be if there's a seat taken?
It's blue if it's empty. It's red if it's taken. Hold on. All right, let's pick
no way.
We'll do 7 o'clock at this theater here.
What the fuck, man? That's That can't be real.
All right, let's do Thursday. Somebody said do Thursdays. Let's do Thursday. We'll do Thursday the 17th. We'll do 8:30 here.
I mean, there should be some here for an opening night. Oh my god.
Again, this is like 30 minutes for me. All these are way like far away from me. Let's try a different theater. We'll go to we'll do here at AMC 9:30 on Thursday. Oh, well, it's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. It is a wrap on that on Blue Beetle. It is an absolute wrap.
What?
That is.
It's not even. Well, I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's almost like unbelievably like ridiculous. Like that's. Yeah. I can't believe that.
You saw me click through it. I was literally clicking on them. There's none of the seats are taken. Yeah, that's. Now look. Could they not have select seats? No, they do. It said selective seating. That's the ones I clicked on. Isn't it early? It's like Thursday of this week.
It's out in like what, less than a week.
You mean to tell me that, like, it is almost impossible for a movie to not have some seats taken at this point? Like, it would be.
I can't believe that.
My local theater only has 3 showings the entire weekend, all on Thursday. Oh my god!
But do you think that's them waiting to see if Thursday sells, and then they can add more on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, etc.? Or
I swear, I think that this whole thing with Blue Beetle is because of the Flash. That was such a massive failure because the local theater that I went to had half of the whole theater was just Flash showings, and it made no money for the theater.
Yeah.
Let me try something else. Let me do Blue Beetle showings. I'm gonna pick a different area.
Wait, was this? Hold on, Eric. I have to ask.
Yeah.
Let me bring this up. Was this real?
What are we?
Wait, no. I think it was fake.
Okay, well, don't pull up a fake thing.
No. But it's like it's not like a nude or anything like that. But okay, it was fake. And someone just said like, "Oh, what if this was a thing back in the day?" Would you have bought this if this was a thing back in the day?
What are we looking at? Ooh. No. Absolutely no.
Look at that. The Bruce Wayne. Plain white cheese, charred black with Martha's pearl necklace ranch glaze. The Joker-roni. Pepperoni with Axis chemical fun color dye. And Joker goon graffiti. Marinara glaze. Would you have not have bought this from Little Caesars? Not been a fan?
Was that supposed to be Little Caesars? I didn't see it.
It says it down the bottom. My favorite thing is it's plain white cheese but charred black, so burnt to a crisp.
No, absolutely not. All right, so this is another place. I'm gonna just make sure there's no make sure there was no issue with the local one. So this is Fandango, and this is Richmond, Virginia, which is like 3 hours away from me. These are reserved seating, so these are all.
Were there race rights there?
Probably. What I mean, it's a metropolis area. Area.
I like how you didn't just question like, oh yeah, probably.
I mean, if something like that's gonna happen in Virginia, it would be in like an area like Richmond.
Oh,
it's the state capital. All right, so here we go. 8:30 on Thursday. What's so funny about that? Like,
it's just your response. Oh yeah, probably. No doubt.
Blue is empty. Red is taken. Blue is empty. Red is taken.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Does anyone have any examples of like? Can anyone give like any like legit things that like from their theaters?
Look, Dino. Look right here. My local theater has no seats taken.
God. Like, does anyone have a theater where there's like
All right, let me pick a different
They're
one
like
here.
half
We'll go down
full?
here. Reserve seating. This one's IMAX. So let's try this one. 9:30. Oh my god. Wow. This is how does that make you feel, Paige?
Well, that's not good. It's not good, is it? That it's not. It's not good. That's all I'll say.
I'm checking here another area. Nope, same thing. Same thing. Let's see. Hold on. I'm checking to see oh, this is weird. I was looking at Barbie. Barbie sold out a couple of showings on Thursday. Wow. No words. No words. All right. The last thing we're going to talk about before we wrap this up is a very quick topic. And this is Superman and Lois season 4. So we found out that that's definitely going to get delayed now, obviously, because of the writers and actors strike. So we were originally eyeing early 2024. I think you said something like what, April, March, somewhere around there.
Well, that's when I would have premiered without the strike.
Right. So what do you think now? Like, if you were guessing, would they do it in the summer? Or are they going to wait and put it out like in the fall of next year?
Well, I think surely they'd have to get it out by June or July, like start airing at the very least.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to think it comes out by then.
Are you worried they may pass on the show if it takes too long for the writers' strike?
I think it had to be an extreme with the strikes. Yeah, I think the thing that doesn't help TV in particular is the fact that the Writers Guild has said even if they get a deal done, they're not going to go back to work. They're going to keep striking with the actors. Now, whether they live up to that or not is another question.
Right.
Because they might be told, a part of the negotiation deal is that they go back to work straight away. So
Robert Blake says there's only 4 Blue Beetle viewings a day in my cinema and only 5 to 10 seats booked each. So at least you got 5 to 10 though.
It's better than 0.
Yeah.
The average was for the things that Eric was.
So here's the thing about people showing up and buying early. That's not culture in my area. In my area, people always
in Australia, it's still turning into it's starting to turn, people don't buy at the theater. Like they might not book a couple of days ahead, but they'll just do it on their phone and then they'll pay with their cards. And you know why? Because it stops human interaction. Really, I reckon 10% of the people that go to a movie probably buy it at the theater, and most just do it on their phone or whatever it is.
Yeah, around here, people are so used to that, the idea of going out and buying tickets in advance. I can't see any world where this movie breaks beyond that and somehow becomes a massive hit. Because what do we have in theaters right now that's probably still going to do well this upcoming weekend? We have Barbie. We have Oppenheimer. Let me see.
Probably Teenage Mutant Ninja
Turtles. Oh, wait,
Meg
2 is actually starting to make money, too. I think it made 150 or something. Let me see. What's out this week? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which isn't doing too bad. I guess Haunted Mansion could go. But my local theater, oh my God. On Thursday the 17th, they're playing Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. That's listed as a movie in the theater.
What's the movie?
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is going to be playing on Thursday.
What? That movie wasn't that movie from last year?
It was, but this is what they have on Thursday. They have Meg 2: The Trench playing in one theater. They have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles playing in 2 theaters. They have Barbie playing in like 3, and Oppenheimer playing in 2, and then Puss in Boots. Wait, does Gran Turismo come out this week as well? Does that come out Thursday?
I thought wasn't it this week? Didn't it already come out?
Oh, is it out already? I don't know. It's not playing at my local theater, so I don't know. Like I said, they have very limited screens. So they're gonna put in the thing that makes them the most money.
Yeah, I'm having a look right now on mine, obviously without a Blue Beetle thing.
Yes.
No Blue Beetle allowed. I'm just having a look at Barbie. It's a Saturday. Like Barbie's starting to like. I mean, there's a session that's almost full. It is a luck session. Yeah, Barbie's starting to be like, you know. But the thing is, it's been out for almost a month. And
okay, so right now I'm looking at Barbie for today, and it is all the showings for the rest of the night are sold out.
Actually, sorry, it was a session at 3:00 this afternoon. That's like half full, all in the middle. So,
the only one that's not sold out is the 10:30 showing, and that one is half full for me. But all the other ones are sold out for Barbie.
You have a smaller theater though, like in regards to people that can.
Yeah, but that theater chain. If I go to another theater in that theater chain, it's probably also.
Yeah.
So
DJ Airrick, yeah.
But anyway, that's where we're going to wrap all this up. So if you guys enjoyed the stream today, I
hate the fact that Gran Turismo movie is called Gran Turismo based on a true story. Why don't we just call it Gran Turismo?
Because it's based on a true story, PG. That's why. But we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to be doing multiple streams. So, Paige, you're going to have to join me. I'm going to be doing multiple streams over on Twitch this week. And we're going to be watching fan films.
Oh, God.
Why
would I willingly show up to what will most likely be torture?
We're going to watch like not the long ones. If you want to be tortured, there are 2 fan films out right now that are very much torture. That is the Superman Solar movie and Spider-Man Lotus are both torturous. Spider-Man Lotus is 2 hours long.
What?
Yes, it's 2 hours
for
long.
A fan film.
Yes.
Aren't fan films usually like 10 minutes long?
Some of them are like 10 to 15. Superman Solar, I think, is an hour and a half, and Spider-Man Lotus is 2 hours. When I looked on YouTube, it's 2 hours.
No, we can't keep doing this, Eric. We can't. That has to stop. We can't have.
Wait, before we go, should we watch? There's a clip from. Let me find it. Hold on. So I can find this clip.
There's a movie in theaters called Jesus Revolution.
Is there?
Yeah. It's got Kelsey Grammer in it.
I would definitely not be seeing that. All right. I'm going to pull this up on the screen. We're going to watch this before we go. I'm sorry. I basically tricked everybody. This is a clip from the Superman Solar movie. And we're only going to watch a little bit of it because it's all, if you want to watch it, it's all here on YouTube. It's completely free. It's free to watch. All right, here we go. Get ready for this clip.
Kryptonians, they always lose. I will not repeat them.
That Optimus Prime.
I've never faced anyone who could boot me, let alone throw me. You've showed me today that I could bleed. I'm even more like humans than I thought. But you know what I've done my whole life? Held back.
What are you rambling on about?
I was able to draw you away from the city, to the middle of nowhere. You brought me to a place where I can finally cut loose.
What is this?
All right, before we see this awesome effect that's about to happen, why is it that Brainiac is never on screen? You just hear his voice and see like this tiny model.
Well, I assume it's probably expensive to do, or like even like makeup wise.
Also, I want to point out this looks like they're in the middle of the desert. Wait until you see where the beams come from in his eyes. Let's watch this. Okay, so if we're looking at this,
Why are they going up?
well, yes, first of all, that's the big issue is why are they shooting straight up in the sky? Right? That doesn't make any sense. But also, why is he in the tropical rainforest? This is North America up here.
Oh, I was gonna say it looked like they were in like Nevada or something like that. Or...
But they're not. That's a rainforest area right there in South America. Keep in mind, this is where they are.
I mean, I'm not going to criticize it too much. At least the guy had to go, but you know, like
Here we go. Paige.
you get what you get. I don't know why that's going up though. That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway. Wait,
But you stopped him. How does that help me? Because you believed it, right? I retold that story to you exactly how it happened. So? I bluffed. Yeah, I got him away from the city, but I was terrified. I didn't know that I could bleed. I didn't know if I could beat him. I just knew that I needed just enough time to rest so I could give him everything I had.
Any thoughts on that, Paige?
I mean, the acting's not great, but it's also a fan film, so I'm not like. I mean, as I said, like, you know, it's not easy, but at the same time, that's not that great.
You're right. And typically I give people passes, but when somebody that's making a fan film trashes like regular movies and then makes something
Oh,
bad,
is that what happened?
I believe that's the case, yes. So
Okay. I mean, you know me, I'm pretty easy when it comes to, you know, I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to like writing and directing because I know it's not easy.
Yeah. Look, anybody that wants to invest something in a passion project, that's fine. But yeah. What?
You missed the part where Superman tells the kid he can jump if he wants.
Oh, I'm not going back and looking for that. I'm not going back. Luckily, though, I looked. That was only 30 minutes. I thought it was an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
30 minutes. Let me double check, though. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man Lotus is 2 hours long, but let me see.
Well, the thing is, you can actually react to these on YouTube and you won't get copywritten because they can't because they don't own the rights to the
really? That's right.
Characters.
Right. So here we go. Let me show you. This is Spider-Man Lotus is actually a 2 hour long fan film.
I mean, the suit looks good.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said it's like a CW show, like the CW made Spider-Man. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but let's see. Here's a good shot here.
See you in hell.
Does his mouth not move? What do you think so far, Paige?
I mean, when it's just like that shot for a fan film, that looks pretty good. Like that shot there. I don't know what was going on with Green Goblin's mask, but I assume that obviously that's the money they could spend on it. Is that CGI?
It looks like it is, yeah. That's definitely CGI there.
Yeah, it looks fine.
All right, I will say this: if we're comparing the two fan films, which I don't think is totally fair, but if we were, I think that one looks better.
Yeah, I've always felt like fan films are a weird way if you want to probably start a career, because I think it's also a bit of a cheat code. You know, I think like, but the thing is, it's hard to get funding. Like, if you were to GoFundMe for like, let's say I wrote a movie that Eric's directing, it's called Get Nuts or Get Nut Checked.
There's drama behind both of those movies.
What's the drama behind the Superman one?
Apparently, there was some like very, I can't remember. Look, this is me reciting what I think it was. I don't know for sure, but I heard that the actual like lead actor said some racist comments or something like that, and put their accounts private or whatever. I don't know for sure. Look, I'm not saying that's 100%. You'll have to do digging for your own, but that's what I heard about the Superman whatever Solar. But Spider-Man Lotus also, there was some racist stuff being said as well between both of these movies. So
if me and Eric made a film, I think it'd be a jukebox musical called Getting Edgy with It. And it'd be about what would it be about?
Nut checking.
No, Nut Check would be like a original song. It'll be like Nutbush City Limits by Tina Turner, but Nut Check.
We'd have to get the rights to that. We'd have to get
because it'd be like a Weird Al parody sort of thing. Yeah. So it'd be a fun movie. Who'd we cast? Who would you be? Who would be what other YouTuber or person on the online realm would you cast in the main role? So it's a movie called Getting Edgy with It, jukebox musical, so we can just use random songs. And it's about...
Well, someone has been quite edgy for the last couple of we've done together, so what's that? Good.
I think it could be a movie about trying to get cancelled without saying anything worth getting cancelled over. So just shit takes or edgy takes, getting edgy with it. That could be the plot of the movie. But it's in like real life, so it's just saying stuff on the streets.
Right.
I'm thinking Limp Bizkit break stuff could be on the soundtrack.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. We'd have to see. We'll have to think about it. You put me on the spot. I can't think of anybody.
Gay Bar by Electric Six would 100% be on the soundtrack.
That would probably get us in trouble. So
that's the whole point.
Is it? Okay. All right. Well, we're out of here. We'll see everyone later.